I'm going to try and build a beer caddy for some friends of mine. So these two guys here have a podcast called 60 Cycle Hum. And it's where they sit around and talk about guitars and guitar equipment and other things. And I thought with their 100th episode coming up, a celebratory beer caddy might be an interesting project to take on. So these live edge oak planks were donated to the project. And I really like the thick bark on the sides. But to make them work, I'm going to have to take a lot of material off. You can see here, we're close. Finally down to almost exactly half an inch. But old wood is going to have some issues. And those issues came in the form of splits and termite holes. So my fix for that was a whole lot of glue. I used the thin glue to try and add a little durability to the bark there. Not sure if it worked or not, but gave me peace of mind. And now just knocking down the glue, smoothing it out. Still smoothing. Now here are the plans that I drew up that are based on a really well-designed beer caddy I found online. But then after a point I just kind of winged it. Time to straighten these edges. Still just love the live edge on this oak. Okay, time to cut some sides down. So it turns out, after I glued all those cracks, I can just cut them all off. That's what we call learning. Now on to the base. So just like the sides, the base was donated to the project too. And by donated, I mean found in the scrap pile. But really, who can call that kind of zebra wood scrap? I also found some teak in the scrap pile too. Now I'm making dado cuts in all the sides at this point that will hopefully support the base once the entire beer caddy is assembled. Now this is the base, and I'm cutting a 1/4 inch slot along each edge that will hopefully fit in each side, and it does. I went back and made 1/4-inch dado cuts that will fit the dividers that I'm cutting out now. As you can probably tell, the 3-piece dividers are going to fit together using these slots. And once I got them together, realized I didn't like the straight look, so just, I don't know, add a little flair. And here's the first dry fit with all the parts. Who knew finding the right circle for the handle would involve solder, glitter, or spray paint? But solder it is. Things are finally taking shape, but because the blade on this bandsaw is a little thick, I had to take it over to the sander to actually get things matching. And here we go with more prep. Just all the prep. Just sanded. Oh, and finally get to work with metal. Now, mind you, a Sawzall is not a precision tool. Lots of filing. A lot like sanding, but on metal. Oh, and here I'm figuring out where the handle's going to end up. Mark it all, clamp it together, and then carefully drill through 1.5 boards. And then go ahead and drill through another 1.5 boards. So my plan is to have the handle go all the way through one of the sides and sit flush in the other side. And that all came together right here. Now, one final assembly before everything gets glued up, which includes the handle. Oh, and it all works out so nicely. But I drilled a pilot hole to keep the handle in place, and when I put the screw in, bam, cracked it. Ruined everything. Have to throw it away. Or just use more CA glue. And here's where everything goes permanent. No going back. Full speed ahead. And bring on the clamps. Clamp, 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 clamp. When I thought I had enough, I got more. Oh, and a little glue cleanup. But my confidence in the glue really wasn't 100% there, so that's why you see a few brad nails going into the box. Really want to make sure everything stays in place. Ooh. Pretty clear coat. I'm allowed to be proud of this. So throughout this build, I honestly hadn't had a bottle of beer to measure things with. So at this point, I was really excited that things actually fit. So now it's time to pretty up the box a little more. I pinstripe every once in a while, and I make believe that I can do some lettering. So I was really just kind of hoping that this turned out okay. And learning point number 2, measure out where you're going to put letters.
Is Gary coming, your producer?
No, he's fired.
I kind of love this Sankey Dove Hollow Bunny.
Guys, the reality is that the reason Daniel hasn't made any money with salvage is because he spends it all on this 100,000 square foot facility. That's actually mostly empty, but you know, rent is high.
Dude, the zip line's sweet though.
The zip line is sweet.
I really like the
water
slide. The other water slide was good.
Here it is, dude.
Oh, no way!
Your very own
No.
Cassidy Signature Series beer.
I thought it was the beer. It's the box.
And note the bottle opener on the end of the handle.
Cassidy is a pinstriper. He's pinstriped it. This thing is awesome.
Note the live oak.
I like the
live edge there.
And there's real beer in there.
And with real beer.
It's got real beer in it.
No, it's all mock. It's just full of resin.
That's awesome. Thanks, Cassidy.
Those should actually probably still be cold, so we should break some of those up. Are they still cold?
Yeah, they're still cold.
Cold enough.
So this was a cool moment for me. Just something I made in the middle of a bunch of creative people. Just looking good. Now there's a few things that aren't 100% on it. Things I could have probably done better. But for a first try, working off of something that was just in my head, I feel pretty good.
It's this way, right? You ready?
I am.
Okay, here we go.
Perfect.
Awesome.
And now for a few things I learned while piecing this thing together. I really should have just had a bottle so I knew what was going to fit and what wasn't. It also turns out that bottle caps are sharp, and when the handle's too close to the bottle, knuckles don't like it. And lastly, the two things I mentioned earlier in the video. Don't glue cracks that are going to get cut off. You're wasting glue. Also, planned out words look better. Just do that. Stop faking it. So now that it's finished, thanks for watching. Special thanks to Salvage Custom for contributing so much fun wood to this project. And we hope to hear another 100 episodes from 60 Cycle Hum. Hope this video inspired you to bring some idea to life. And if you'd like to see what inspired me, check out this video from Jimmy DeResta. His giant beer caddy gave me the idea for my regular-sized beer caddy. So I'll see you next time when I think again, yeah, I could probably do that.
All right, guys, let's call that a 100th episode.